I'm going very hypothetically here.
Basically, we want to make a game.
Yeah.
Try not to make it real.
Favourite bit of it.
I don't know.
When we meet again,
When do you warm up? I don't know why I'm saying I was playing
only
that.
hang out on we're playing a game that we play together.
Throughout this game. Welcome to the FEDCAST.
Hello and welcome to the FEDCAST, a video game and industry podcast by GameFed. I'm Dan Freeds and today I'm joined by Jack in Action and the Nido.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, everybody.
So today we're going to talk about the games we keep coming back to, and we're going to do it for exactly 10 minutes, and I'm going to start my timer right now. So who wants to get started?
Oh, God. Someone else, because I'll talk forever.
Okay. One that comes to mind for me is, I don't know whether you know this game, but it's called DayZ.
I know Daisy. Yeah.
Yeah. I was the sucker who bought the standalone instead of actually getting the mod. So I played that for a lot of times, but I stopped when I got bored of it, and then there was an update, and came back to it every now and then, every, I don't know, a couple of 3 months or so. Good game. I think it's still in its beta, though. So
It has been for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of perpetual beta.
It's been like in beta for almost as long as Minecraft. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I think I won't be playing it until it comes into like the full thing. But yeah, that's a game that I think I go back to a lot.
Yeah.
So,
DayZ was actually the game that made me build a gaming computer.
Oh really?
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I
That's
saw
a nice little
YouTube
thing.
videos.
Do you mean the mod or the standard?
The mod, actually, and then I later brought the
Okay,
standalone.
yeah.
So I saw this YouTube channel where they were doing sort of like a role play, 30 or so people playing. And this cool story, came about from it where they'd split up, and then half of them would go rogue, and then they had a multi-part series about chasing each other down. And it was really cool, and that's what made me build the computer just to play that game. I think I've only played it for about 15 hours in total, though. I just die and then lose all my stuff and start again and be like, oh.
I would spend a lot of time into finding things like a rifle or something, and then just staying in the woods. And I know like a couple of times where, this was a while ago, but I know a couple of times when I would hear a gunshot and I would leave the server. So
Oh, really?
I've been one of those people.
Coward!
I know. It was a long time ago. I was a kid back then.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, to be fair, like no one plays games for those kinds of stress unless they're doing, unless they're horror game buffs or something.
Yeah,
Silent
but,
Hell players.
Yeah. I did not play it for dying. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm just thinking of this as a massive life metaphor. Like, childhood is building the gaming computer, and then you play the game. You're like, oh, this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, for me, there's a bunch of childhood games that are in my drawer, right on my right. One of them is the Sly Cooper series. That was my first love.
Oh, yeah.
Sly Cooper. For the uninitiated, it was essentially Lupin the Third, but with animals. For those who don't know what Lupin the Third is, it's a fantastic anime that you should watch about 3 friends that are master thieves and a cop that keeps chasing them around the countryside. And
okay.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. It was a series on the PS2, and it was 3 games, and it completely expanded my imagination. When I was in grade 8, I wrote a story about like the first boss battle of that game, and it was that assignment that made me think I could be an actor, because my teacher had like written some probably exaggerated, but it was very nice to say comments about like, this is a very well written story and very well performed, maybe consider a career in radio. And that's where I thought like, oh, I could tell stories, then that'd be cool. So that was my first job that I ever wanted to do, radio DJ. Besides the point, Sly Cooper, big game series for me personally. Another PS2 game, Spider-Man 2, which I think we were talking about last podcast in the E3 episode. But if I was just going to have like a week off sick, I'd probably just pop in that game and play it all over again, because it's got its faults, but as far as a PS2 game goes, like it rivals, as far as I'm concerned, like a 360 or PS3 game today. Like it was very intuitive and fun.
Yeah, totally.
I have to say, I love Spider-Man 2, especially when you compare it to Spider-Man 1 video game, where you could
much
sling
big
webs
difference.
from above
sky.
buildings. Yeah.
They definitely upped their game for sure.
Yeah, totally.
I got to think quickly because 10 minutes isn't a lot of time.
We're about to hit 5 minutes.
I'll get back to you. Tag out.
Okay,
I'll have a look through my library and have a look.
I'll talk about Sly Cooper. Yeah, I loved the Thieves in Time, I think it's called. That came out on PS3.
I haven't played that, fun fact,
Dude,
because
it's really good.
PS3 was the console I missed. I went to Xbox 360, so now I can buy a PS3, but it might be too late in the game. I'm thinking about maybe buying a Vita and just buying it just for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
See, the thing about having like divorced parents is, getting a second Christmas. So I have both consoles.
So
It's got really depressing.
So tongue-in-cheek rule is you should get your parents divorced so you can get more gaming consoles.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen, children.
I guess I'll talk
Parents'
about
jokes.
my ones. I really like base builders, and I always come back to them. Like just the other day, Prison Architect, which I've been playing on and off since beta. Like every 6 months, I load it back up and just chuck 10 hours into it. I always love it.
I don't know if I'd come back to these games in particular, but if they made a sequel, I'd pre-order it, which I never do. Is Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2
Oh yeah, they made it
really
3.
shaped the gamer I would become after my PS2 days. It was a funny, violent, social game. And since then, I've played very few online games because Left 4 Dead kind of spoiled me. It was the first real online game I played, and you had to work together. Otherwise, you were boned, basically. And so I really dug that you could make a real community because you had to. You had to work together because the game was actively trying to kill you. It was like this wonderful thing called the AI director. And if you were doing too well, it knew. And it would throw a tank at you, like this big hulking zombie that smashed you and everything in its path and left you liquid, basically. And it was wonderful. It was one of the best times I can remember playing a game on the regular.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I'd come back to those games because I don't have Steam at the moment. Or rather, I don't PC game. But if I did, I'd probably be playing that on the regular. And if I do, feel free to add me, all 3 of you GameFed fans listening. All 3 of you. You're out there.
Me and my mates used to go to internet cafes and play Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. We'd just get 4 of us in there and we'd just play through a few story modes. It's always really fun, yeah. And the way that AI director worked was so cool.
Wonderful games.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant, as far as I'm concerned.
As much as people rag on zombie games, they definitely were doing something right.
Yeah, no, they were doing something right possibly at the wrong time. It was right time commercially, possibly the wrong time in terms of just another zombie game. People possibly ignored it because it was in that peak zombie time. If that's the case and you haven't played it, I'm sure people are still playing it to this day. Give it a go if you haven't.
Definitely,
really.
It definitely will be. Thinking of other games that I would come back to. Spyro is a series I played multiple times through. Yeah,
very cool.
Spyro 1, 2, 3. Yeah, really always love that, and it's cool to come back to that game every so often and just play through the whole story. And it's cool being an adult and actually being able to 100% complete the game rather than just sort of finish the story and be like, oh, I'm done.
Oh, okay. I've got one more. This is a bit more old school just to improve my cred because starting with PS2 probably isn't that good. But Star Fox 64. Oh
yeah.
Man. So much fun. I don't need to tell anyone how fun it was, how great it was, but one of the cool things, it keeps coming back to social stuff for me, but I remember one of the coolest things to me was that I was in childcare at the time, daycare, and we had an N64 there. This is in the days where you could get away with that, just letting them watch TV all day. And they were doing a little map trick where you would go in and out of these tunnels, and only that would get you the real ending to the story, doing this very specific thing where you're coasting in and out of these tunnels in the first level. Only that would get you the real ending to the story. And that just blew my mind. And this little community was made with these friends of mine in childcare at the time, and I finally picked up the game. I borrowed it from a friend, and I played it, and I did it, and I'm like, oh my god, what the hell? Like, because like I played it originally, and it ends up with this big robot head. I'm like, that's a bit weird. That's a strange ending. And then I played the real ending, where it wasn't a robot, and I'm like, holy crap, that Nintendo hid their real ending. Ballsy.
It's so cool.
So a fantastic game if you haven't played it, but it's Star Fox 64. If you haven't played it, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. We are hitting 4 seconds. So Nato, would you like to do one more for you?
No, I wouldn't.
And that's all we have time for today. As always, thank you for joining us here on the FEDCast. Feel free to check out our YouTube channel for regular gaming updates.
Our Facebook and Twitter for daily industry news.
And our Twitch for live streaming.
Thanks for listening. My name's Dan Freeds, and you can follow me on Twitter at Dan Freeds.
My name is Nido, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Nido.
And my name is Jack in Action, and you can follow me on Twitter at JackInAction_.
Thanks for listening, everyone.